This interview with New York Times bestselling author Ramit Sethi was amazing. We talked about so many things finance related, but even more importantly, the parallels between finance and fitness and how important it is sticking to the long term, not getting confused in the minutia and the 85-15% rule. Try to do 85% of the things right, and the rest of it is not too important. Just like I say to my patients, hey, if you just get to the gym, you're already winning. The same thing when you think about money. If you're already saving or investing, or you have some sort of a plan, even if you're not sure all the little steps of it, and you're automatically putting that money away, you're already winning. This podcast, you guys are going to love it. Ramit goes over a lot of actionable steps that he talks about in his book that I read, Craig is reading right now. Let us know if you guys like this podcast. We know you will.
The Prehab audio experience will teach you how to take control of your health through knowledge by optimizing performance, promoting longevity, and keeping your movement system in tune. Welcome to your host, the Prehab Guys.
All right, guys, welcome everyone. We have Ramit Sethi, the New York Times best-selling author. I actually just finished reading his book, I would say 3 weeks ago, called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's the second edition. Craig right now has it. He's actually going to Peru tomorrow, so he's about halfway done. He's going to finish it up in Peru. I love the book. I was stoked. I posted it. You hit us up on Instagram. Just love to talk about finance, talk about fitness, how the two worlds collide. A lot of the principles I feel like are the same, thinking long-term and not short-term goals. So with that, for those of you guys that don't know, Ramit's written, like I said, a brand new book. He's been an author of a blog, I will teach you to be rich.com. He puts out tons and tons and tons of good content. And it's not just content that you can take and kind of get an idea from, but actionable content. I think that's why I like it the most. It's actionable, which is very similar to the stuff that we try to post on our page, not just talking about random stuff with the hip, but here's something you could do now to help your hip at home. So with that, welcome.
Thank you very much. And I love this comment that just came in. Rich parents equal rich kids. So let's just dig into that for just 1 second. The first comment, this person hasn't even heard me talk, and their concept of money is that rich is evil. If you're rich, you must have trampled on someone to get there, and that the only way you can become rich is to have rich parents. Guess what? I didn't do any of those things. First of all, rich is what you decide rich can be. Rich can be traveling for 1 month per year. Rich can be buying a $1,000 leather jacket. Rich can be hiring a personal trainer or physical therapist to put your body in the best shape of your life. It doesn't have to be sitting there with a monocle eating like Richie Rich every night. That's an old misconception. The other thing is, just because your parent, the only way to get rich, a lot of people believe, is to have rich parents. That's BS. There are plenty of ways to create a rich life. And in fact, there's school teachers who save and invest consistently who create their rich lives as well. So let's just put a bunch of those misconceptions aside today. And I hope you guys can hear, I'm going to give you the non-bullshit straight talk. And if you guys want to be coddled and be told, oh my God, you need to give up your lattes, that's not me. Buy as many lattes as you want. Okay, that doesn't make a difference. What matters is you focus on the long-term important things. And that's why I'm pumped to talk to you, because it is so much similarity between all these misconceptions about fitness and the body and nutrition and about personal finance and getting rich. So that is what we're going to hopefully talk about today.
I love it. That is the talk about money dials, which we'll go into in a bit, has been the one thing that I think attracted me the most, and determining what that rich life is. I actually think I first heard you on Tim Ferriss's podcast with a very similar mindset of determining what that rich life is, and it's different for all of us. Just like our fitness goals are different for all of us, which means there's different paths and different things that are going to make us all happy or achieve whatever X, Y, and Z is that we want to achieve. But can you speak a little bit more about money dials and spending on the things that you love while cutting back on the things that, you realize you could spend better on those things that you love? And talk about that, because everyone always talks savings, but that's just not applicable to live your rich life.
Okay, let's talk about it. So when most people think about money, they think somebody who's going to come in here is going to come in here and tell them all the things they're doing wrong about their money. Don't spend money on lattes. Don't buy any clothes. Don't go out. Just retreat into a cave for 80 years, and maybe you can use some of that money later, okay? It's bullshit. I have a totally different way and different philosophy about thinking about money. And it goes like this: spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't. And I'm going to show you some specific examples. So for everybody watching, I want you to comment along so we can do this together. So let me ask you, what is something that you love spending on? Love, not like love. What is it for you?
Guys, let us know in the comments. I know for me, it's travel. And I've learned that, and I know it's such a cliche thing, but now I know, because this year I didn't have any vacations planned. I just had business travel, and my mind I started losing it. So me and my girlfriend booked a trip like within 2 days. I'm a long-term planner. We just booked it. Or now we're going to Banff in like two months, because I was like, I need to travel. Like I need this thing. But travel, it's huge. A lot of people are saying that too.
I love that. So look at your face as you talked about it, right? I can visually see you smiling. Yeah. Your body language changes. You're sitting up straighter. It's amazing. Every one of us has this thing. I call it a money dial. The thing we love spending on. The thing we would spend more on if we could. And I call it a money dial because what if you turned that dial, like a radio dial, and you turned it up? Well, I'm going to ask you. So your money dial is travel. That's a very common one. The most common ones are travel, food, like eating out, and then health and wellness is really popular as well. Now, let me ask you, what if you turned that dial and you quadrupled the amount you spend on travel? What would it look like to you?
I'd be traveling 3-4 times a month. The amount of travel would increase significantly. And then I have trips where I'm only traveling for fun, not trying to, kind of like we talked about, go to New York to teach, but then I'll squeeze in 2 days of travel at the same time. I'd make it all vacation or all travel.
Nice. Okay, now let's keep going, because what's interesting, your answer, super common. I asked somebody, I gave a talk in DC on my book tour, and I asked, and somebody said, I love to eat out. And I said, what if you could quadruple your spending? And he said, I would eat out 4 times a week. I said, dude, that's pretty linear. Is there anything else? Like, you're used to eat at Taco Bell. What are you going to eat at now? And it clicked for him. He said, I have a list of every Michelin-starred restaurant in DC. I would go, and I said, okay, and who would you take with you? And he said, I would take my parents. It was so beautiful because his parents had never been able to eat at a place like this. So you said I would travel 3 or 4 times a month. Fine. How would you travel?
Yeah. So it'd be traveling, like I said, without business related to it, without having to worry about fitting it into the schedule. I would just go. You know what I mean? Yep. It would be that's another thing. I would just go, not worry about what's on the schedule. I would travel to different areas within the United States. We talked about, I haven't explored much in the United States. I've always been about, I want to go to somewhere in Europe. I want to go somewhere in Asia. I actually love going to Southeast Asia. I would mix it up a little bit and be okay going, even if it's a short amount of time. I feel like I have to make my trips long to get what I want in. But if I was traveling more consistently, I would be totally okay with a quick weekend trip to Texas, quick weekend trip to, wherever, knowing that I'm doing more of it.
Okay, now, what seat would you be sitting in on the airplane?
Business class, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And what hotel would you be staying in?
Probably a Marriott. That's where I typically stay.
Marriott points?
Yeah.
I'm with you. Okay, platinum, fine.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do beyond just doing more of it. I'll give you a couple of examples. I met a woman in LA who she loves online shopping. She had the whole bookstore rolling, dying, laughing because she's like, I love shopping online. I said, where do you shop? She said, Topshop. So we did this quadruple your spending exercise, and I said, what would your life look like? She goes like, I would have boxes everywhere. And I said, what boxes? She's like, Topshop. And I said to her, if you're 2Xing, 3Xing, 10Xing your spending, do you think it's possible you might actually spend your money elsewhere? And there was pin drop silence in the room. She had never thought that as her spending increases on the things she loves, she might change what she loves. So if she 2X'd it, maybe she's shopping at Banana Republic. If she 10X'd it, maybe she's flying to Italy to the headquarters of her favorite Italian clothing brand and getting a custom-made sweater made just for her. My point with money dials is to show you the power of imagination. And it's to show you that when I say spending extravagantly on the things you love, when I ask people what would it look like, they actually have no idea. Why? Because they've spent their entire life saying no. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. but they've got one thing they love. You knew it within a millisecond. I love travel. And now for you and your girlfriend to be able to talk about this, to explore, what would it look like? Do we want to bring our friends or our family with us? One of our money dials is travel, my wife and me. And for our honeymoon, we decided to go for 6 weeks, and we invited our parents for part of it. And we said, we want you to just show up at the airport, and we will take care of the rest. And we had this magical experience seeing part of Italy through their eyes, and that was using money to create our rich life. Now, if you do this right, suddenly you're talking about the things you love spending on, and now you start to say, wow, I also eat out at these restaurants that are kind of mediocre. Do I really care about that? Or do I really need this or that? No, I can cut those down mercilessly and redirect the money to something I actually care about. That's how you think about money.
Oh, yeah. I love it, love it. Love that philosophy. I know my girlfriend and I are starting to talk about finances more. And then within our business that I have with my partners, that finance is always a part of everyone's life. And it's not something that you need to shy away from. But then talking about the things that we just talked about, the psychology of it, the physiology, psychology of it, how we think about what it's going to provide, or not just what it provides, but what doors it can open or doors it can shut, depending on how you think about it, I think is huge. It's not just a figure in your bank account or something like that,
That's totally right. It's so much more. And it's funny when you ask people, what are the words that come to mind when you think about money? Well, let's just ask them right now in the chat room. I'll tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say stressed, overwhelmed, is it too late, guilty. These are all negative words. When I think about money, I think about rich life. I think about possibility. I think about convenience because I spend to make my life more convenient. And I think also about growth. I know if I put my money and I invest it for the long term, I know the returns that I will get. So we can change the way we think about money, but like that first commenter who said, rich parents, rich kids, blah, blah, blah. If your entire worldview of money is negative, then it's no surprise that you're not living a rich life. If, on the other hand, you say, wow, what do these people know that I could learn? Suddenly you've opened yourself up to possibilities.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, man. I know on some of the podcasts, I don't know. Yeah, I think you and Tim actually spoke about it, but it sounds like you've been really getting into fitness. Maybe it sounds like later on in your life. Tell me how that journey has been for you, or if you have any questions for us or following, anything like that.
Oh, my God. All right. So... You know what? It's funny. I bet for a lot of people watching and listening, a lot of people always feel like if I had only started 10 years earlier with my money, I would be in such a better place. And I feel exactly that way about squatting. If I had learned how to squat and deadlift in my late teens or early 20s, I would be crushing it. And I see these kids in the gym. They're like teenagers. I'm like, dude, you are so good. The fact that you're in here, who taught you to get in here?
Yeah.
So I grew up, like many Indian guys, I grew up, first of all, of course, I dominate at spelling. I'll take any of that spelling bee. Let's go right now. I'll take it right now. I grew up, academically focused, and I think culturally there wasn't a lot of support for the fitness lifestyle. It just wasn't around me. I did not see really fit Indian guys. And I have now learned how important that representation is. And once in a while, maybe once a month, I post a fitness photo on Instagram. It's not for my ego. It's that I want to inspire one Indian guy or one Indian woman to say, oh my God, I didn't know that people like me could look like that. I'm more proud of that than making somebody $1 million. That money is easy. Changing your fitness psychology has been so hard. And I used to call myself a skinny Indian guy. And I would laugh. But it actually is not that funny because it turned into this self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm sure a lot of us say things like, I'm not good with money, or I can't afford that, or, I'm lazy. I need to motivate myself to work out. all of those things create our reality. And I wish that somebody had pulled me aside and said, hey, Ramit, stop calling yourself a skinny Indian guy. If you want to put some muscle on, come with me. I'll show you how to do it. I wish. So I had to fight my way to that. And over time, I learned. I got the help of friends. I hired a trainer, multiple trainers. Nice. I hired a nutritionist. I really invested tens of thousands of dollars in learning this stuff. And when I started off, it was pure vanity. I just said, you know what? I want to look like that. And I think vanity is great. It's a good place to start. Over time, I think with any of us, if we get really good at something, we fall in love with the craft. And that has happened to me, both with money and with fitness.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've turned my money dial way up on fitness. So that's been my journey.
Yeah. What's the craft look like for you? Like training schedule or working with different trainers or nutritionists? I know you talk a lot about nutrition. Like what are some of the things that you found, I guess, to be the most successful for you in your fitness journey? Like the top couple of things you're like, these are the things that have really changed the game for me.
I think, first of all, when I started off, it was honestly just showing up 3 times a week. And I remember my trainer actually used to ask me this question. He used to say, did you get in? Meaning, did you get in on the 4 days that we were not together? And I no longer get asked that question because, of course, I got it. Of course, I trained on my own. So the first thing was just showing up. And, so many of us, we have this mental barrier about, like, how am I going to find time? But, of course, if we want to, we can. So that was first. The second was after training. I did strength training for about 4 or 5 years. And I took a really honest look at myself in the mirror. And I was like, man, I follow all these attractive people on Instagram. How come I don't look like that? I'm working out hard. And when I got really honest with myself, I wasn't eating right. I was ordering delivery. I wasn't tracking anything. And I had to be really honest about that. So I started learning about food. And the food thing was another pivotal game changer for me, just like learning about that. And there's so many layers. There's macros, there's weighing your food, there's whatever level you want to go to. And then finally, I decided I wanted to focus on bodybuilding, and I wanted to really hone my aesthetics. And that became a whole nother layer, a whole nother journey. So I think that when I started off, it was just like I walked into the gym. I was literally like, I want a trainer. And they picked whoever, and he was great. Then I got a little bit more detailed about knowing what I want, what areas of the body, that kind of thing. It's been a journey, and I'm still just completely a student in that journey.
I loved your first point, though, about what you said is showing up was the most important. For me, as a physical therapist, and especially on this platform, because it's a digital online platform, people are always asking, what's the best stretch for this? What's the best exercise for this? What is the go-to for this? And it's like, man, look, if you do if you do 95% of things, meaning just show up to the gym and walk around, you're getting more exercise than the person that didn't show up to the gym. Just go up the stairs of the gym and walk there from your car, and you already won. I don't care what you do in the gym because you're already winning. Yes, can you improve upon things and make systems better, make your workouts better? For sure. But the fact that you're at the gym and you devoted an hour of your busy life to pumping some iron or running on the treadmill or whatever it is, you already won. You're there.
Totally.
That's the most important step, is showing up, for sure.
Yeah, and it's a long game. It's such a long game. You might have a day that you skip it because you're tired. That's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up about it because you're going to be back in there tomorrow. And some days you have to cut it short because you're just not feeling it, or you have a meeting. That's okay too. It's a long game. I hear the same thing with money. People asking the same question. What's the perfect investment for this? Should I invest in crypto? By the way, the answer is no. Stay away from crypto. But should I invest in this or that? And the larger point is something I call the 85% solution, which is most of us try to optimize for every last percentage. In fitness, it's people asking these absurd questions about what time should I take my obscure supplement? It's like, dude, that doesn't matter. You're not an Olympian. It's irrelevant for you.
Exactly.
Get 85% of the way there. Show up, train, have a program, and follow it 3 or 4 times a week. Eat basically right. Move around a little bit. You do those things, you're going to be way better off than sitting there analyzing the different grams of protein in this thing or that.
Yep.
Like, focus 100%. On the 85%.
100%. Let's wrap this. So we talked about 85% for fitness, like we said, just showing up 3 to 4 times a week, having a general program of I'll lift legs today, I'll lift back, general program, and just eating for the most part healthy. We all know that tender greens is more healthy than McDonald's. We all know that cooking, my chicken on my stove myself with seasonings is more healthy than tender green. You know what I mean? Like we can all make those assertions. What are some of the things that you would say then if we relate to the financial world, just showing up and doing right things? What are some of those kind of overarching general principles applied to the fitness world?
Some of the biggest ones.
Finance. Yeah.
They make such a big difference. So there's a lot of people on here right now watching and listening who believe they can never become millionaires. That being a millionaire means you need to be wearing a mink coat and you need to have gone to Harvard, and all that is complete nonsense. I could show you the math right now. It's not that. It's not magic. It's just math. The simple ways to focus on creating your rich life and to build wealth are, number one, you want to automatically save and invest a percentage of your income every month. Okay, every month. If you want me to give you a simple recommendation, save 10%, invest 10%. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is to invest with a plan. Just like you want to work out with a plan, you want to invest with a plan. And it's really simple. I talk about target date funds in my book. I have a book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Yes, every author has their book within pulling distance, always. I do too. But you want to invest with a plan. And then third, you want to make sure that you are spending on the things you love and actually spending a little more, but you're cutting back on the things you don't. I'm going to give you an example from my life. When I travel, I love nice hotels. If I'm traveling on a flight that's long, I'm going to fly business class. But I also have lived in the same apartment for 10 years. Okay. I don't have a TV. I have a computer that's 7 years old. It's from 2012. And these are things that are not important to me. Also, we eat at home almost every single day. We hardly ever eat out. So it's really important for people to know what they value and what they don't. And that is, if you get those things right, you're 85% of the way there.
Oh, yeah. The values of it. I think what you spoke about, automatically saving, that was a big one. And the way that you talk about in your book, how to automate things, was huge for me. And that was probably the first actionable step I did after reading, is I completely set up. I had always been investing since I was a kid, actually. I've been investing, but I never had anything automated. I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably do something now. Or that money's just been sitting there. Let's go do something. Yep. But now I have this, like, what I think in my head is a super complex system, and I know it's not, but it's probably crazy to anyone that doesn't think about things like that. Money comes in my checking account, and I have a certain percentage going here, a certain percentage going here, and everything's now allocated to certain things. So that way, when I do have my money dials, I know that this money is for me to spend, and I don't have to think about it because I've already put away the things that I'm thinking for my long-term, future and success down the road.
Let me show everyone what your system possibly looks like. So this is an automation chart, and you can see at the top, your money goes into your checking account. And from there, it's automatically put into a savings account for things like a vacation, things that you love. It's also invested. And then you pay it off, your credit card bills, your guilt-free spending. So all this is automated. It's a system. It's like your email automatically filtering and even responding to emails for you. Most of us don't think this way at all. We get money from a paycheck or clients, and then suddenly we're like, oh, I don't know, I got to pay taxes over here, and then I'm going out to dinner over there. We're not strategic. And so over the course of a month, a year, 2 years, we just shrug and say, I guess I spent that much. And we work and work and work. And we're like, where'd all the money go? Well, the money went away because you never sat down for one weekend and read a good book about personal finance. So learn the systems, apply the systems, do it once, and you'll benefit forever.
Yeah. Again, guys, like I'm a huge fan of yours. I mean, that's why I was stoked to do this. And that book, I gave it to Craig. It's super easy for I think it's perfect for the millennial generation that doesn't want to think too much about it, just wants a general plan and go. And it's actionable steps. This is why, I loved it so much.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's move on to this. We did a little poll of some of our audience. We do have a pretty, like I said, split audience. We have a lot of people that are the fitness entrepreneurs, love fitness, and then we have also a clinical side. For those that don't know, physical therapists in the United States are kind of in this financial problem, and it's going to blow because there's going to be really good people that could go into the field of physical therapy, but aren't going to it because the financial situation's not good. Basically, PTs in America, we'll call it the average salary out of school is somewhere around $70,000 to $75,000, and that sounds like, oh, that's a lot of good money, but the amount of debt it takes to get there is easily 150 or above over 3 years. So it's huge, and it's just this mismatched proportion. And I guess there have been questions from a lot of people like, well, how am I supposed to save if I have debt? And I guess I'm going off right now. What are your thoughts on student debt as a whole, one? And then, advice for people in situations like that may have a lot of student debt, but their income's not there. How can they adjust their money dials or save for things long term when they have that debt that's on the back of the head, or business owners too that have a business debt, whatever it may be.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about people in debt first of all. How many people watching right now are in debt, and how much debt do you have? Let's take a look and see some of the answers right now. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I will read off what some of the people say as they start to respond with how much debt they have. Okay. As they give us the answers, I want to tell you this. Most people do not know how much debt they have. So when people are saying 70K, 10K, 33K, some of them know. Most people went real quiet. Somebody says $1,300. Here is the question that you should know the answer to. If I asked all these people who just wrote 70K, 33K, 48K, 50K, I want to ask you this question. What month and what year will your debt be paid off? And guess what? Nobody knows. They don't know. First of all, 95% of people I talk to, and I have over 1 million readers a month, they don't know how much they owe. 99.9% have no idea when it will be paid off. Now, if you know the answer to that question, then you are in control of your debt. I'm going to give you an example. If you have let's just say you have 50K of debt, you should go to a debt payoff calculator. You can Google it, and you should have a plan in place. I'm paying off $600 a month or $200 a month or $2,000 a month, and I know exactly how much. If you call up the person who's in charge of your debt, a lot of times they will work with you to restructure that debt. For example, if you pay an extra $200 a month, you can often save $12,000 over the course of your loan. Here's my point. Most people don't have a system. They just randomly pay. A lot of people are paying the minimums. No surprise it's going to take you 30 years. You never sat down and learned how to master your loans. So if you have debt, for a lot of people, it feels like constricted. Like, oh my God, it's going to be here forever. The way to solve that is not to put your head in the sand and avoid opening up envelopes and emails. The way to solve it, understand your plan to pay off debt, decide how much you're going to put towards it, and get aggressive. Now, the second thing with it, you should know the answer to the question. You should say, October 2023, I'm going to be free. Great. The second part is you can also invest while you are paying off debt. And I'm a big fan of this. Why? Yep. Because I want you to build the muscle. I got to show my bicep on this. I'm not looking too good in this polo shirt today. I should have worn my workout clothes. All right. I want you to build the muscle of investing, even if you're investing just a little bit while you are paying off debt. Because when your debt gets paid off, and it will, you're going to be seeing that money growing. And that's going to motivate you to take all that debt payment and put it right into investing. That's the way that you really grow your wealth. So I've talked to people who have $3K in debt. I've talked to people who have $300,000 in debt. Both of them can solve the problem. Okay, you can pay off that debt, but you got to get aggressive. You got to make a plan, and I want you to invest as well, even if it's just a little bit at the same time.
Oh yeah, I love that. Investing as well is huge. And are you familiar with any of the student loan forgiveness options for healthcare professionals?
I'm not as familiar. No, I'm not as familiar that I can speak on it, so I'll probably pass on that.
Okay. It's an issue. It's a problem. But well, anyways, we'll move on from there. But I love the fact of investing, because like you said, you have to build habits. And if you're building habits early, then it's very easy to take that money that you were putting aside for your debt and paying off or investing it and or switching how much you're putting towards one. If you have a plan and you know what that plan's end date is, you feel like you're free. And I know for me, when I was in school, I knew the cost of school before going in. I mean, that was a big decision of choosing different schools. Unfortunately, California schools are all way more expensive than other schools in the region. But knowing how much it's going to cost and having a general idea of what I wanted to do and the timeline it would take. And of course, that's fluctuated and stuff as, I've graduated, I've grown, and I've seen where money can come in and where it can't. But having that plan allows me to sleep at night. And it's not something that I'm constantly worried about, where I know there's a lot of people like, oh my God, I'm in so much debt. I'm worried about all this stuff. But as long as you have a plan for it, it'll be good. Totally. Same thing for fitness, same thing for health and wellness. If you have a plan, like when people set a plan to run a marathon, they usually train. They usually track out how they're going to train for a year up to that marathon. As long as you have a plan, that crazy goal of running your first marathon doesn't seem as scary anymore. Kind of like, a debt. So having a plan is huge.
Exactly right. Make the plan, guys. Debt seems scary, especially if all of your friends are also complaining about debt. You need to understand the peer pressure that you're surrounded with. A lot of times, I know a variety of industries where people graduate with a lot of debt. Well, guess what? It's really popular to get together for drinks at happy hour on Friday, and guess what they talk about? Debt! They complain about debt. Oh my God, life is so tough, so all this economic stuff. Yeah, okay, I agree. There's a lot of serious issues. There's income inequality. There's a lot of real economic and social issues. At the same time, the question I ask is, have you contributed to your 401k? Have you made a debt payoff plan? You can talk about societal issues all day long, but I want you to focus on what you can control. That's why I call the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Not I will teach all of society I will teach you, the reader, to be rich. So I want you to be really mindful about who you surround yourself with. Do they make it seem normal to have $100,000 of debt and to feel afraid of opening your bills? That's not normal. Mm-hmm. Do they make it seem normal that all you should do is commiserate and complain about debt? That's not normal either. You should have a plan. Look at how confident you are when you're talking about, I made a plan, I executed it, it's going to take me 6 months or 6 years, but I made a plan. That is how you feel confident. And you need to be mindful of the people around you and where you're getting your information from, whether it's fitness or whether it's personal finance.
Personal finance. Awesome. Let's do this. Over the next couple minutes, guys, maybe 5-10 minutes, let's take questions from the audience here on Instagram Live. I'll scroll back a little bit. Most of the stuff we answered, so feel free. I'll re-ask them again for me and stuff in case some people joined a little bit later. And you could, be quick with them because we covered a lot of the stuff already.
You got it.
The first one's from Sam. This one that just came. How do you handle business finances differently than personal?
Good question. Sam is one of my students who's used my Zero to Launch course. I think he's made like $50,000 or $100,000. Sam, good to see you here. So the way that I handle my business finances is different. We are a little bit, so first of all, I'll tell you about the similarities. I want to have a buffer. In my personal finance, it's called an emergency fund. In my business side, I want to have roughly 6 months of expenses, okay? But things change on the business side because I have a lot more expenses and they're dynamic. I have a payroll, I have employees, I want to pay them. I also have variable income because I have certain products that are launching and things like that. What I do with the money is I'll basically set a target. I pay myself a salary, a steady salary every year. And if I have any money that I want to take out, I call that a distribution. I'll take that out. There's a good book called Profit First, which I would recommend for business owners who want to optimize their business finances. It's pretty good, and then you can adapt it from there. And by the way, I work with an accountant and a bookkeeper to keep track of all this stuff.
Awesome. The next question is, Tony, what's the importance of data knowledge? That's kind of general, but that's super general.
Next question.
From Aiden Grace, what's the one thing you hate spending money on?
Oh, wow. What a great question. Okay, how long do we have? Can Instagram hold the amount of data that I'm about to blather out? I'll tell you, there's a few things I simply will not spend money on. So when I was a kid, we never could go to hotels because we couldn't afford it. So we would stay at our relative's house and things like that. And now I love really nice hotels, but I still will never open up. What's that thing where they have
the bar?
The mini bar.
Yeah. Mini bar. Yeah.
I'm not spending on anything. I could buy the whole mini bar. I'm never, ever buying anything from the mini bar. I just find it outrageous.
Yeah.
So I still have
$7 for water.
Yeah. The other thing is, when I was a kid, we used to eat at Taco Bell once in a while. And Indian people, by the way, love Taco Bell. And we would only order from the cheap stuff, like the 59-cent tacos when I was a kid, and like a tostada, like the cheapest stuff. We could never get the Mexican pizza, which is the most expensive thing on the menu, okay? To this day, I've never ordered a Mexican pizza.
Still.
I'm keeping it in front of me like I'm hungry. I'm hungry enough that one day I'll get that Mexican pizza, but I never ordered it until now.
That's good. That's really good. Oh, man. From VFN, Ramit, would love to hear your opinion on renting versus owning property. I won't go on the rest of the question, but just that situation.
Great question. Okay, so a lot of people in America believe that if you're renting, you're throwing money away on rent. And they say things like, better to build equity. They're not making land anymore, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? I could buy a place
not making
right
land
now.
Anymore.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I haven't heard that one.
For the tax deduction. These phrases, they don't even understand what they're talking about. Let me tell you guys right now. I could buy a place in Manhattan today. I've rented on purpose for 10 years. Why? Well, I'll give you the short version right now, and you can see all the math in chapter 9 of my book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Renting is not throwing money away. Think about this. For everyone who says that, when you went out to eat 2 nights ago, you went to that Mexican restaurant, did you throw money away on the order of nachos? It went in one end, you came out the other. Did you throw it away? No. You paid for value. I'm paying for value by having my roof over my head. I take the money I would have spent on a mortgage, which, by the way, would be at least 50% more expensive than rent, and I invest that money. Mm-hmm. Turns out, generally speaking, you can make way more in the market compared to what you would make buying a house or real estate as an asset class. Now, of course, it differs depending on geography and things like that, but a lot of people think real estate only goes up. That's bullshit. I want you guys to know the numbers, run the numbers, the biggest expense of your life, and don't ever feel guilty for renting. Again, I could buy tomorrow. I don't on purpose. So read chapter 9 of my book and you will understand the math.
I think that conundrum is a lot of our, at least speaking for people our age, it's our parents' generation, that home ownership was the pinnacle of, the pinnacle of life. It's hearing it from your parents, and the older generation says, why are you throwing away your money? It's not necessarily people our age saying that. It's the older generation saying that to you, like, you need to buy a home. I think that's where a lot of that comes from, at least for me.
Totally.
So,
you know what? It's parents.
Love it.
It's parents. It's the government even telling us that buyers make more stable citizens. Politicians literally will say, we want Americans to buy. So I want everyone to understand that there's a lot of propaganda telling you that buying is better. Buying makes you a better person. Guys, it's bullshit. If you want to buy, buy. I will buy at some point in my life. I've already saved my down payment in a sub-savings account. I talk about this in the book. But don't feel pressured to buy anything just because somebody else in society is telling you. That's your rich life. It's not theirs, so you choose what you want to do.
Awesome. I got a couple of questions related to this, so I'll ask you. This is from Steph. What are some good tools or apps? Oh, what's up, Steph? What are some good tools or apps to use to manage and control your expenses?
So, in general, you don't need a lot of apps. If you want, there's one good one called You Need a Budget, or YNAB for short. It's good if you want to track your spending. But one of the things I talk about in my book is setting up an automation system so that you actually spend 1 hour per month on your finances. Let me say that again. 1 hour per month. You should not be logging in and paying all this stuff. It's a waste of your time. It's actually accident prone. You set up the system. Everything happens automatically. You're still in control because you can review everything before it happens. But I spend 1 hour a month on my finances, and I show you how to do the same thing in the book.
Awesome. I know a lot of people asked about Mint. I use Mint personally. I think I've seen a lot of people talk about, I think it's called personal capital. I was going to look into it. That's more investing though, right? Or is it still budgeting?
Yeah, it's a little bit more focused, yeah.
More focused on that. Okay. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, then we'll wrap up. There's a good one from DJ Sobe. When you say invest, does this mean stocks, shares, Roth IRA, 401k, or all of the above? And I guess talk about real quick over upper level what the differences are and what people should be thinking about them.
Okay. So again, when people think about investing, it's very easy to get scared, and Wall Street wants you to be scared. They use words. How many of us have heard these words? 401ks, annuities, Roth IRAs, compound interest, like all these words. You're like, what language are we speaking here? Well, I'm about to break it down for you right now. So just sit back, get some popcorn. You're going to get how to invest in 30 seconds. Okay. First of all, you have different accounts. You have a Roth IRA, you have a 401k. These are what's called tax advantaged accounts. You can save a lot of money by investing through these accounts. Okay. Now, if you don't have access to those, maybe you're self-employed, you have other ones. You have a SEP IRA, solo 401k, blah, blah, blah. There's a million of them. Within those accounts, you can invest in a lot of different things. You can buy individual stocks, you can buy individual bonds, or you can do what I consider to be one of the greatest investments of all time, something called a target date fund. 10 seconds and you're going to understand investing better than virtually every other American. Here we go. In a target date fund, you simply tell them the age that you plan to retire. Let's assume it's 65. And what they do is with this pie chart, they will pick a pie chart for you. It's low cost. And over time, that pie chart will change as you get older and more conservative. Simple as that. One investment, it's automatically diversified, and all you need to do is automatically put money into it every single month. If you just heard that, you know more than most Americans who are busy saying, oh, there's going to be a recession. What should I do? Stop trying to predict the market. You can't time the market. You don't know anything. These Wall Street people know even less. So target date funds, low cost investing, long-term investing. That's how you do it. You're welcome.
I love it. With that, that was a great way to end it. That is the nuts and bones, guys, of investing from the man himself, Ramit. Ramit, anything else? Yeah, anything else? Let's talk about the book. We talk about the book a lot. Anything else you want to bring up? Any other big projects that you have going on? Or things that you think people should know? Anything like that?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you one thing that's exciting to me, one thing I hear a lot about, and then where you can find me. So one thing that I hear a lot about, a lot of people our age are talking about this, is their parents. What's going to happen with their parents as they retire? Are they set financially? Are we going to take care of them? Do our parents even know what to do with their money? This is a big topic that I'm hearing more and more and more. It's big. Look for it more. Number two, I teach people how to grow their businesses. So for all the physical therapists here, I've helped a bunch of physical therapists grow their business, double, triple, quadruple their income. Come to my website, come to our products page, check it out. You guys will love it. And then you can find me on Instagram at Ramit. You can find my book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's on all bookstores.
Read it.
Please take a look. Take control of your money and create your rich life. It is one of the best things you will ever do.
Awesome. Thank you, Ramit. And guys, again, reach out on Instagram at Ramit. This will also be made into a podcast. So for any of you guys that jumped in mid-session, end of the session, we're going to have the audio on our podcast, the Prehab audio experience, which you guys should be able to find on our website real soon. Thank you so much for your time. That was really, really fun. Guys, reach out to me if you guys have any questions. DM. See you, Ramit.
Thanks a lot.
Wow, I hope you guys got a lot of great information out of that and learned how to make your own rich life and what that may mean for you. Some of the big parallels between fitness and finance, I think thinking of the long term and not getting stuck in the day-to-day details is just so important for both. And it's something that Ramit really hones in his book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which we have linked in the show notes, and something that we really try to focus on through our online platform, the Prehab Guys. You know, we give so many different movement variations and modifications and exercises. Know that just doing some of them is better than doing none of them, and that there is no really right or wrong when it comes to the majority of things. Just try to get moving, just like Ramit emphasizes. Just try to start investing, try to start saving, and automate these things so you don't have to think about them. Guys, this was a little bit different interview than we typically do. Most of the things in our podcast are all health and wellness or fitness related or rehab related. So let us know if you like, this different type of podcast interview we get with Ramit Sethi talking more about finances. If you guys like it, please tag us. Take a tag right now of this podcast. Tag us at the Prehab Guys and Ramit at RIMIT, and let us know if you like it, because if you guys like these, we would love to do more of them. This is stuff that Craig, Arash, and I are all super interested in as entrepreneurs. We love talking about these topics, but we want to know if this is something you guys like talking about. Again, the reviews mean a ton. Review it as well. Please give us 5 stars. It helps so much. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day.